Hi, my name is Chuck Wooden, and you're watching the Veterans Corner. We have a special guest here today from the Iwo Jima Memorial. A lot of information. I know we've had representatives here on the show before. Actually, it was quite some time ago. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, yep.
We have Gary Roy. Gary, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure and honor to have you. I know all the work that you do, and you know, that's what this show is designed for, to get everything that you do out there to the public. One thing I didn't write down is a title. Do you have any special title that you go by?
You know, that all depends on what I'm working on.
Yeah.
With the foundation, I'm just a member of the foundation.
Yeah.
The Iwo Jima Memorial Historical Foundation takes care of the park.
Yeah, man of many hats. I know we just did a show last week. You know, it's to list them all down on a piece of paper. And we had talked about it. You know, you're
Yep.
always volunteering,
Yep.
and you know, thank you very much for everything you do for the veterans.
Oh, you're welcome.
Before we talk about the memorial itself, let's talk a little about the Battle of Iwo Jima. You know, when it was. You know, whatever you can give us on it.
Well, the battle, we were going up on the coming up to the anniversary on February 19th. It was from February 19th, 1945 to March 26, 1945. And a lot of people don't understand it. They don't realize why that island was so important. It was approximately over 600 miles from the mainland in Japan. And that island was going to be used for the landing strips they already had there for an invasion on Japan. So they needed to take that island.
Wow.
And in 36 days of battle, there were 6,821 American servicemen lost their lives.
You're talking about the distance. That's probably from here to Bermuda.
Yeah.
So it's not that far away.
No, it's not. But you know, you figure up to that point they were using some little islands like Tinia.
Yeah.
And when they tried to do a bombing raid on Japan, but a lot of planes wouldn't make it back.
Yeah.
So that was going to be a very important island.
Yeah. Is there anything else you can tell us about the battle? Was there any key things? There's a lot of key things, actually. I know the show is only 25 minutes long.
Well, of course, the two flag raisings on February 23rd. The smaller flag that went up first, and then that was replaced with a bigger flag. Yeah. You know, that kind of made quite a bit of history. And I find it remarkable that when the photos were taken, nobody even knew how the photos came out until they got delivered. You know, it developed and taken off the island.
Yeah.
And the gentleman that took the photos didn't even know how they came out until he saw them in a magazine. So, I mean, and it's one of the most duplicated photos in history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's many people that haven't seen that photo.
That's right.
And that was prior to the digital cameras and the 35s. Yes. And what was before the 35s? I forget. Oh, it goes back a ways.
That's before me.
Yeah. But tell us about I know you have some survivors of Iwo Jima. That's part of the memorial foundation. First of all, where is the memorial?
The memorial is on El Grasso Boulevard on the Newington New Britain line, just off Route 9. Yeah.
I think anybody that's driven Route 9, especially southbound, has seen the memorial.
Yep.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. But the survivors, how many survivors are there that are members of this?
You know, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
At one point, when they built that memorial back in the 90s, between the early 80s and probably the late 90s, they had approximately 800 members all through the country.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think we're losing a rate of almost 500 per day or something in the United States of World War II vets. So we only have a handful left here in Connecticut that we actually can still stay in touch with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and I mean it's important to stay in touch with them. I mean, a lot of times they can't come out to the functions. I know we just had a World War II veteran at our Fort Chaplain service.
Yeah.
This past Friday night, and and we gave him a standing ovation. Like you said, there's not many of them.
There's
left.
not many. No.
How was the National Iwo Jima Memorial built, and by whom? I mean, who started the vision of building it, and where did the site, the current site of the memorial? I mean, how did you determine that?
Well, it started with a gentleman by the name of George Gentile, and he was an Iwo Jima survivor, and he went to a reunion back in I think it was the early 80s, and came back home thinking, I wonder if there's any Iwo Jima survivors in Connecticut. And he started putting ads in newspapers, and he started getting some pretty good responses by people. And he had quite a few guys respond, so he says, let's start an organization. And once they start the organization, they found out there was 100 men from Connecticut who died during the battle, and they wanted to do something special for them. Yeah. So that's how they came up with the idea to build a memorial. The property was just a wooded lot at one time, and they looked all over the state to find a piece of property, and I don't know who spotted it, but they did a little research, and they were able to secure that piece of property.
Now, being so close to central Connecticut, was that state property?
I think it was at the time, yeah.
Because you got the highway right there,
Yep.
and it was probably pretty easy to, or should have been pretty easy to acquire.
It probably wasn't that easy.
Yeah, dealing with the state. So it's. Are there any special events? Actually, I know you got the 74th anniversary coming up of the battle.
Yep.
Do you have any special events that are coming up to celebrate the anniversary?
Well, my wife and I, we're going to do a talk at the Newington Library about the Battle of Iwo Jima or survivors. We might see if we can get some of the family members of survivors come up and talk about their fathers. And we'll also have some military displays out. And I think we're going to start planning something for next year, the 75th anniversary. Trying to do something nice and big here in Connecticut.
Get it done while we still have some survivors left.
We hope so.
Yeah.
Because, speaking about that monument a couple of seconds ago, that's the only memorial like that built by survivors in the United States. And they funded it all themselves. And they built it themselves. And actually, one of our survivors passed away clearing the property there. Frank Sarowski from Newington.
Oh, I never heard
Yeah,
that.
so these guys, not only did they sacrifice whatever they could to keep our freedom going during World War II, but even building that memorial, they sacrificed quite a bit.
Yeah, that's, 75 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more things coming up. I know that driving by there, we were talking yesterday on the phone. There's got to be a lot of upkeep.
Oh, there is. Yeah, you have your regular snow removal and your grass care and your lawn cutting, and we got sprinkler systems, and the monument needs to be cleaned professionally, waxed and cleaned every probably 5 to 6 years, and the black granite needs to be cleaned. There's always a lot of upkeep with something like that.
Yeah, and we'll get into that down the road as far as funding and if any of the viewers are willing to help out with the process.
Always looking for help.
We were talking about your traveling museum, World War II museum.
Yeah.
Now, I had the pictures all downloaded on a flash drive. We were going to put them on the show as time went on here. That was kind of overlooked, but what I'm going to do is I had a nice picture of that you had sent, your wife had sent.
Yes.
Early this morning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those on social media tonight when we post these to really get those pictures out there. One of the pictures that I really wanted to show the viewers was the museum itself.
Yeah.
The traveling museum, just so they can get an idea of what it actually looks like. And we'll definitely do that. I'll get that out there on social media. Let's talk about the traveling museum. When did you start it? what made you start it, the vision that you had for it, and how it's going.
Mary Ann and I came up with this idea probably maybe 5-6 years ago. Yeah. And we just really couldn't get it going for quite a while. Then in 2010, at our motorcycle ride, we announced that I think it was 2016. We announced that in 2017 we'd have the trailer here, the museum. Well, we didn't understand how hard it's going to be to build it.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought a new trailer, so it was nice, but we had to build all the display cases. And I wasn't a carpenter.
Yeah.
So we did in 3 months. We worked nights and weekends, and we unveiled it in 2017 at our motorcycle ride. And we let all the World War II vets go in it first. And we've been out probably close to 24 times since then.
Yeah.
And we've gone from anywhere from libraries to historical societies to schools to elderly functions or motorcycle events, car shows. Pretty much anywhere that we can possibly go out that's we have enough room to set it up, and we think people are going to appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, any one of the veterans events that you have, I mean, I'm sure there's a line once you get it parked, set up. For one thing I wanted to show the viewers, but you know, we didn't get a chance to do, is that, I mean, what it looks like. I mean, it's a large. How long is it?
It's about 24 feet long trailer.
Yeah, it's
enclosed.
It's one of the enclosed like landscaping trailers.
Yep, it's a car trailer.
Yep.
And it's the best, to our best knowledge, it's, from what we found out, it might be one of the only World War II self-contained traveling museums around. And
And now, there was display cases on both sides?
Yeah, we have a total of 9 display cases in there, and we change the exhibits occasionally. Depends on where we're going and what time of the year. But we have stuff from sand from Iwo Jima, sand from Normandy to different beaches. A women's Coast Guard from World War II.
Yep.
It's all World War II, all different branches of the service, and we try to keep it fresh. And we notice, because when some people come in there, they'll say, I didn't see that a couple months ago when I was in there, so you changed that around. And I'm thinking, that's good that people are noticing.
It's good that they notice it. It's good that that you're able to do that, because it's you know, as you go to museums or other events, it's usually the same thing that you see every time.
Yeah.
This, people are showing up and they're going to be under the impression that they're going to see something different this time. It keeps the excitement going.
Yeah, we don't change everything all the time, but you know, we make some changes here and there, which is nice. And we try to put some labels with different uniforms or pictures, so people understand who wore that uniform and where they're from and when they served and stuff like that. So it's an educational museum, definitely. I
had told you I had a couple items running around today.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to have to get those to you. It'd be an honor to be able to donate them to you.
Oh, sure.
So you can have them in the museum.
We'll be more than happy to put them in there.
Now, anything else about the museum? I mean, you said you had it out there how many times?
In the last 2 years, I think probably close to 20, 24 times maybe.
Yeah.
You know, the first year was over 11 times out. It was very busy.
Yeah. And
then we let off a little bit this year, but we still kept going. So it's really rewarding to go out and have people go through it and learn from it, especially teenagers. They look at it and they learn from the uniforms or the paperwork or the photos or whatever's in there.
It's a great history lesson.
It is, and it's one of our way, Marianne and I, it's our way of trying to keep the legacy of these World War II guys continuing for many, many years down the road.
Now, if somebody had some memorabilia at home for World War II, passed down, and if they wanted to donate it to you, how would they go about doing that?
I'll get my number out later about everything, but what we do something a little different is some museums, when you donate it, you give up the rights. We don't do that. We're basically considered, we think that we're caretakers of people's stuff.
Yeah.
And if they ever wanted it back at any time, they get it back. It's our honor to have somebody's father or uncle's memorabilia or pictures in there that we can help share with the public.
And one thing you had mentioned yesterday while we were talking is that even at the time of the handoff of the donated material, and you know, when you part ways, and it's under the understanding that from the donor that just keep it. You might change your mind a month down the road, a year down the road.
Sure. They do.
And that was one thing that you made it perfectly clear that
Yes.
don't hesitate to
Call us. If you want it back, just give us a call. Be more than happy to return it back to you.
Yeah. And that's, like we said, not many museums do that.
Well, we want to be perfectly honest with people. We don't want to keep their stuff.
Yeah.
It's theirs.
Yeah.
And we just feel honored to be able to share it with people.
Yeah. You've got the 10th annual Iwo Jima Survivors Victory Ride coming up. That's a big event.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it? When it is? What it takes to put it on?
That's a.
I know it's a massive function.
Yeah.
A massive effort to put this function on.
Yeah, pretty much when we finish it on our ride home, we're talking about starting, what are we going to do next year?
Yeah.
So it's a year to prepare it. It's done with, just volunteers. Marianne and I do most of the work because it's a lot of publicity and printing cards and posters and going out and trying to get sponsors. It's a day to really recognize our World War II vets. Yeah. And we encourage them all to come, no matter what branch of service they're in. If they're not connected to Iwo Jima, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have a motorcycle, that's fine. Walk-ins are fine to come. We start off with a nice ceremony in the morning. We have breakfast for them. And we incorporate a nice ceremony in the middle of it. And the guys do a poker run. And then we come back, we have lunch, and we have goodie bags for the veterans.
Yeah.
And one of the different things that I've never seen anybody else do, and we've always thought it's appropriate, is we raise a 48-star flag for the day. Because if we want to pay tribute to these World War II guys, that's what the flag was.
Yeah.
And
it was.
It's been really, really kind of nice. We've been using the same flag for almost 10 years. And we usually pick the different military groups, or we ask who wants to come up and volunteer to raise the flag. And it stays up all day.
I was looking at some of the photos that Marianne had sent me, and there was that one picture there where there had to be close to 100 people sitting out there.
Oh yeah.
Was that after one of the rides, or was that was another function?
It could have been maybe our ceremony in the middle of it, around the Iwo Jima Memorial. Sometimes we stop there, and there's pretty much everybody goes there.
Yeah.
And the ride's been growing slowly over the years, which is good with us.
Yeah.
So we can kind of control
Well,
it.
That's a good problem to have.
We see a lot of new people come every year, and then I see a ton of our repeat people who have come almost every year, and it's nice. We got such a connection with these people. It's really nice.
Now, do you work closely with a lot of the VSOs, Veteran Service Organizations in the area?
With that ride, no, we really don't.
Yeah.
We've tried to reach out a little bit, but our times are kind of limited because we're both working.
Yeah.
And Marianne does all the computer work and makes all the posters, and I run out and try to get all the sponsors. So we're always kind of limited for time of where we have to go and who do we approach.
I know the one of the VSOs, the American Legion, has the Legion Riders.
Yes, they've been there.
Yeah, I was going to say that. We certainly have connections to get the word out to them.
Oh yeah, if we can get the word out to as many different organizations as possible, the whole thing is just about really thanking our World War II vets for the day.
Yeah.
And I think our oldest one last year was 100 years old, a Battle of Iwo Jima survivor.
Wow.
And we ran into him shortly after the ride. He turned 101, and he's all excited about coming back.
That's great. That's great. Veterans like that are still here with us. People have to sit there and take a look and take stock, at these events when those veterans are there.
Oh yes.
It's something that it's special.
Well, when you see different generations and different military backgrounds coming up and thanking them for their service, and you get many of these World War II guys together, they got a kinship that's, it's unbelievable to see them interact and joke around. And they thank a lot of younger guys for their service, and the guys are shocked, you're thanking me. And, that's how they are. They got respect for everybody.
Well, veterans as a whole, it's a brotherhood and sisterhood.
Yeah.
what do they say? It's like 1% of the population
Yeah.
are veterans.
Yeah.
So, there's so many things that I like to ask you. I know we got limited time. I know we had talked about the Gold Star families, the
Yes.
monument.
Yeah.
Would you like to touch on that a little bit?
Well, that's good to talk about it after the ride, because the proceeds from the motorcycle ride for probably this year and the next couple are going to go to help build the Gold Star Family Memorial Monument here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
That was started by Woody Williams, who was a Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Iwo Jima. And a lot of people say, they don't know who he is. I said, well, he did the coin toss, not this year, but last year at the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And he's the last living Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Iwo Jima. There was 27 of them. He's the last one left. And he came up with this design, and he would like to see one in every state. So his foundation, we're working with them. They're a nonprofit, and they really help you out, any state that wants to build one, So we work under them, and donations are tax deductible through them, and we're going to do fundraising. We haven't found the perfect location yet here in Connecticut, but we found out that Connecticut is the last state in New England to have one.
Yeah.
And we found that out. We said we have to.
It's high time.
We have to put one
It's
here.
high time. We've had a couple Gold Star mothers on the show,
Yes.
and it's and we've always wanted to have a show. One of the areas that are overlooked is the Gold Star families,
Yes.
and actually they themselves have told me that.
Yep.
It's not just the mothers, the fathers, the siblings.
Oh yeah, it goes right down to distant relatives. Yes.
It's and I hope to in the near future have a show about Gold Star families.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Have everyone on.
I think that's the reason that Woody started that project. He realized that probably that they're not thought of a lot or overlooked. And him being a World War II veteran probably remembers that a lot of his buddies, when the families got notified that they weren't coming back, they mostly notified the mothers.
Yeah.
And the rest of the family had to kind of hold it in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. We see it on TV, we see it on the movies, but to actually have to do that walk up the driveway or the sidewalk to the front door.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's difficult. We've only got a couple minutes left. I told you 25 minutes would go by fast.
Oh yeah, I could speak for an hour.
Yeah, and how can folks get in touch with you? Websites, phone numbers?
The phone number is probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
Because we get sometimes almost 100 emails a day, and Mary Ann does all my emails.
Yeah.
So the phone number is 860-810-8736.
What was the last four?
8736.
736.
And I think I mentioned that we're going to be doing a talk at the Newington Library
Okay.
on the 23rd of February, talking about the flag raising of Iwo Jima, the memorial. That's from 1 to 3. And if anybody would like to come, it's open to anybody. And we'll have memorabilia there, and hopefully some family members of the survivors.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I wrote that down. I'm actually going to try to make it to that. One of the things, whenever you have an event, get it to me, and we'll highlight it on social media and on the Veterans Corners Facebook page.
Okay, sounds good.
And anybody can actually get to the Facebook page it's the Veterans Corner CT. Veterans Corner CT is our page. There's a lot of Veterans Corner shows and talk shows, radio shows throughout the country, so that's why we make sure you put the CT after that. Now, real fast, the trailer. If anybody wanted to have a special event somewhere, I don't know if you covered that or not. Could they just call you and say, it'd be nice to have it?
Yeah, you give us a call, and we'll see if it works into our work schedule.
Yeah.
And see if we're booked up yet or not. Like I said, we need we need a minimum of 60 feet of space to set it up. And some people say that's too much for our parking lot.
Yeah.
But, it's just, that's what we need.
Well, you got the 24 feet, then you got the ramp that comes down.
Yeah, and you don't want to make it too tight in there.
Yeah.
You know, we can get plenty of space for handy. The reason we built it with the big ramp is it's easily handicap accessible.
Yeah.
Walkers, canes, and wheelchairs.
Yeah. Well, Gear, I want to thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
It was an honor to have you on the show. I know off to the side we have Mary Ann. Thank you very much for everything that you do for the veterans. You know, on behalf of the viewers and the Veterans Corner crew here, thank you. You know, with that being said, we, as always, we hope that you found the show very informative, and I'm quite sure you did. We want to thank you for watching. My name's Chuck Wooden. You're watching the Veterans Corner. Good night.